there, moguls. It's me, Marshall Silver, your personal millionaire maker. Getting very excited about my brand new show, 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. I'm going to broadcast live to you. In the first hour of the broadcast, I'm going to give you content, information for better sex, more money, emotional, mental, physical, and even spiritual power. I'll also invite some of my cool multi-millionaire and billionaire friends onto the show to give you more direction, more advice, more strategies and gambits for having it all. The second hour is what I'm most excited about. It's when I get a chance to chat with you. Yes, you. Where you can call in, talk to me, ask me questions. And if you say the secret word of the day, you could win $5,000 cash. At the very least, if you're the most interesting call of the day, you could also win 10 ounces of freshly minted Marshall Silver 999 Fine Silver. All of that and more. Brand new Mercedes-Benz sedan or SUV up for grabs. My personal Rolls-Royce Phantom up for grabs. All the knowledge to get everything you want and so much more. All you got to do is log in to the show to get information about its release coming up. 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, coming to you live from the bunker right here at Studio Money. I'm Marshall Silver, your personal millionaire maker.
Let me bring in our hypnotist, Marshall Silver.
It's Marshall Silver, ladies and gentlemen, the world's fastest hypnotist.
Hello there and welcome. It's Marshall Silver, your personal millionaire maker, with you live. Yes, we're live. Unlike a lot of shows that are pre-recorded and you cannot interact, you can interact. You can ask our guest questions in the chat. If you're fascinating, interesting, I might even give you a chance to call in live and talk to me here on the air and get your personal questions about sex, money, and power answered on the spot. That's part of what makes us different. My question for you today is, do you ever feel like we are living in a simulation, that the Matrix was not a movie, that it was a documentary? It wasn't fiction, it was fact. Every once in a while, I get a feeling that the things around me are so bizarre that Ashton Kutcher is somewhere around with hidden cameras getting ready to punk me. Michael Carbonara is doing magic to me across the counter, just looks like somebody else. And, you know, we're living in such unusual times that for me as a hypnotist, it's more fascinating than ever. You've got people believing things that are flat out not true and yet acting upon them as if they're true. That's hypnosis. That's the textbook definition of hypnosis. More and more people around you want you to believe things, and, you know, whether this treatment is good for you or that jab will make you healthier or this distance will keep you alive a minute longer. It's insane. It's all hypnosis. It's not hard to hypnotize people. What's hard is to bring them out of the trance they're walking around in every single day that tells them who they are and who they aren't, what they can be, what they can do, what they can have. People ask me sometimes, are you a con artist? And I say, yes, but I have to be a better con artist than you are to yourself. I've got to get you to believe things that you'll think are untrue. You'll think I'm conning you when I'm not. What I'm actually doing is waking you up from your deep sleep. The whole idea of being woke. I've never liked the description that woke tends to mean a thing that is not the same as being awakened. And I want people to recognize that the two distinctions between trance, the non-critical acceptance of ideas or concepts on a subconscious level, and its polar opposite, what I call an ability to see reality, objective reality. No judgments, just objective. When you learn how to do that, what happens is you start seeing through the matrix. You start seeing things for what they are. You start recognizing that here in the United States, as an example, we have more things in our food, unnatural elements, synthetic components to our food than anywhere in the world. This week has been a lot of fun for me. It's been a lot of health because, as you know, I am getting ready to have some treatments done on my knees, some PRP treatments. They talked me out of stem cell. I was ready to go in full bore, talk to a doctor. He explained some things to me. They explained that I just didn't need it yet. And so I'm getting ready to do PRP on my knees. Because we've had a lot of health people on this week, I've heard a lot of opinions. And one of the common denominators was one ingredient foods. Foods that are natural, foods that, vegetables and fruits and meats, proteins that are one ingredient meals was a very powerful way to begin your shift in your diet. I listened to that and I love that. And so if there's a one ingredient concept that can help you in your physical health, what's the thing that can help you in your mental health? I'll give it to you right now. The thing that will help you more than anything else during these challenging times is you must learn to choose your reality. What do I mean by that? You can believe whatever you want to believe. And if what you're believing supports you, God bless you. But if what you're believing doesn't support you, then it's up to you to choose to believe something else. What do I mean? Does that mean that you should lie to yourself? You should not deny things? No, not at all. What you should do though is have an expectation that things are going to work out just fine. Because what's the worst thing that can happen? Your expectations don't occur. Whereas if you expect things will be the worst turnout they could be, then what happens if they turn out that way? It's because you were looking for it to begin with. Secondly, though, even if it turned out good, you'll just say, "Oh, I got lucky," when you didn't get lucky. It was going to turn out that way anyway, so you might as well have expected it. Choose reality is the powerful place to be. And beyond that, choose the reality that best serves you. I'm Marshall Silver. We're doing a live show. Everybody told me a live show will never work. Yet the bottom line is we're doing well. Numbers are growing every single day. I'm having fun, which is the most important part of this whole process. And I would like you to join me in the fun. In particular, today we've got an exciting show. I've got a guest that I'm looking forward to chatting with. Tim Calise is a visionary who's spent the last 15 years at the forefront of hyper growth companies across a spectrum of industries, from investment management to tech enabled services, software development. With an array of experiences ranging from startups to established companies boasting eight-figure revenue run rates, Tim brings a wealth of knowledge and insight to this show and to the table. In this episode, Tim's going to open up about his entrepreneurial journey, sharing the wisdom that he's experienced through various roles as a founder, an operator, a growth partner, and an investor. Tim's primary directive is to empower other business owners and entrepreneurs to accelerate their path to success by learning from his triumphs and his challenges. So, whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a seasoned business owner looking for growth strategies, or simply intrigued by the stories behind successful companies, Tim's perspective is invaluable. On today's show, he's going to offer practical advice on navigating the complexities of business scaling, fostering innovation, and building resilient teams. Please, a nice big Marshall Silver welcome to Tim Calise. Tim, welcome to the show. Glad you're with me.
Marshall, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
First and foremost, where are you right now physically?
Physically, I am just outside of Nashville, Tennessee.
I tell everybody that tells me that during all the scamdemic and all the lockdowns, we were looking to move out of Nevada and California, which are where my residences are, just because of the insanity. And there were two states that were particularly appealing to me. One was Texas, and the other was Tennessee. And we saw some beautiful homes on some riverfront pieces of property there. And if I ever decide I'd like to just get away, be a little bit more distance from people in general, Tennessee is right at the top of the list for me. So welcome to the show. Glad you're with me.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
You're like the wizard in the Wizard of Oz, in that you're kind of a person that's not like a lot of the guests that we get that are highly visible and and highly forward facing. You're a behind the scenes kind of guy. You're making the forward facing figures look good. And Lord knows I need people like that around me. And Lord knows that most forward-facing people, if they don't have that team, they didn't become forward-facing. So I'd like to tip my hat to you and say, thank you for the hard work that you do. For the people that don't know who you are, why don't you start off with a little bit of background so we can get to know you?
Yeah, absolutely. I have served as the number two to quite a few very public folks along my way. But for me, it started from a very early age.
Don't stop there
Yeah.
and leave us hanging.
Yeah.
Drop some
Well,
names.
I got to give you something. So
Drop some
most
names,
recently,
Jay.
I'll give you the name. So most recently, I was on the executive team working alongside Alex and Layla Hormozy, who a lot of folks know in the business community, now running acquisition.com. So I was Alex and Layla's number two over at Gym Launch prior to selling it about 2 years ago to a private equity firm.
Wow, huge. And now they're working with school. He's involved with school.
Yes, he is. Yes. So I built Allen, which was the software product that we developed underneath the Gym Launch umbrella that we took from 0 to 1.7 million a month in revenue in about 4 months. So that was the
Holy
project
cow.
most recently that I worked on before the exit.
So are you a coder?
I am not. And so, as you said, I've kind of sat behind the scenes. I have figured out throughout my career that I can learn a lot of things, and I'm highly adept at kind of picking up concepts relatively quickly. And I think probably the best analogy that someone has said is I'm like a business firefighter where everybody else is running away from the flames. I seem to have something inside of me that is drawn to those sticky situations. And that was what we kind of encountered with Alan, which was a project that was kind of over time, over budget, unclear of exactly how it was going to come to market. And I parachuted in and was able to help kind of navigate the team into a successful launch.
So what do you suppose that is? I love distinctions of personality. People that make great salespeople or even great leaders might not make really excellent operational people. And I meant what I said at the top of the show. Operational people are often overlooked and not appreciated at the degree and the level they need to be appreciated. You could have all the sales in the world and still implode your company and then end up in a world of hurt. You
Yeah.
can, have the most dynamic, charismatic, forward thinking leaders that actually lead fairly well. Yet if they're not able to put the operations people in place,
Mm.
everything eventually falls apart. What do you think are the top personality traits of people like yourself that are really good at operations, and don't be shy or modest?
No, I appreciate that. So I think as far as personality traits, I have an unwavering belief that I can learn and figure anything out, which is countered with a belief that I can do really hard things. And I think that's mixed with a little bit of my background, which is quite varied. And you spoke about kind of what is the reality you sit in, and how do you perceive the world. And I think for a long time, probably 10 years ago or so, I tried to fit into kind of call it an established marketplace. Like, where is my place in the world? And I came to realize that I had a unique set of experiences that allowed me to have a different perspective on the world. And what I mean by that is I've raised hundreds of millions of dollars for a hedge fund in my early 20s. I then became an investor, so I know what it's like to raise capital and exit a business. But I've also had to build things backed by my own money. And so the concepts of how do you build product? How do you price? How do you think about things like customer success? Every business I've been in is a relationship driven business. And I think most of our businesses are. So, how do all of those things intersect? And take software, for example, all of those came to bear. What type of business do we need to be in order to maximize cash flow, in order to maximize for an exit, to be attractive to an acquirer, and be a place that can get top talent? And I think those varying experiences have also allowed me to be very succinct in creating a great story that folks have been able to rally behind.
Of all of the things that you've done, certainly you probably have some things that were more enjoyable than others. What are the things that have been most enjoyable for you? What have been the most fun projects?
Yeah, so I think for me, when I was in my first kind of official foray into the entrepreneurial world, was actually primarily in college. I was a sophomore in college in Washington D.C., and two roommates and I started a late night snack delivery business. And they say that necessity is the mother of invention. And I learned speed to market. So it took us 48 hours to go from, hey, we should start this thing, to being live into the marketplace. And we went from offering services, we had like 10 products 3 nights a week, to 2 years later, we had 10,000 products in a 9,000 square foot warehouse. And so I say that because it was both enjoyable, but it also taught me that the value of scaling small victories. We took that first step. We didn't really think twice. It was, how can we just get out to the market, understand what the value proposition was, and then build from there. And I think so many entrepreneurs and business owners spend more time thinking and strategizing, or whatever the word is, instead of just taking those incremental steps that'll actually show you the path, and optimize for success.
What do you think are the 3 top things that make a business owner get stuck?
I'll say a perceived lack of confidence. And I loved what you said at the outset, which is kind of how you perceive the world. I think so often we're afraid of the straw men that we tell ourselves, or that we hear, or we observe from others. And so I think number one, it's a lack of confidence in, or fear, which is a perceived lack of confidence. The second is, I think we have an overload of information, but not enough insights. So I think we consume too much and take action too little. And I think the third is, call it under the, we think we need to know a lot. I do subscribe to it's who you know, not what you know. Every enjoyable experience and every success that I've had has been in partnership with someone else. And I think as social beings, we spend too much time in our own heads and not enough time out in the marketplace, kind of co-creating the success that we want for ourselves.
That's a big piece. That's a really big piece. I have a very, very, very dear friend. If I mentioned his name, almost certainly you would know who I was talking about. Huge in social media, phenomenal business person, the most connected human being I have ever known. I've never. I can ask him. I cannot come up with a name of somebody that's got any kind of awareness, any kind of fame, what at all. I cannot come up with a name that he doesn't say, "Oh yeah, here's his number, here's her number, here's how you get a hold of them." Instantly. Oh yeah, I talked to him 5 times yesterday. I'm chatting with him yesterday, and he says, "Yeah, when I go to Vegas, I'm going to hang out with Mark Wahlberg, and we're going to this." I'm just going, everybody, which he does. But we were talking about the fact he's about 20 years younger than me, and I'm at level 62, so he's about 40 years old, and how very different his brain is wired for the exact same things. As an example, when we do live events, my focus is always content, content, content. What are the actionables we can hand to people? What are the things we can tell them to do differently? Because at the end of the day, I believe that yes, it's confidence, except we either don't know what to do or we can't get ourselves to do it consistently. And so the mindset piece, that's easy for me. That's what I do. But for me at our live events, I undershoot on the production side of things. Meaning, I don't need 52 LED walls and pyrotechnics and fly in on a helicopter. I don't do that because I don't do that. It's not a part of my business plan. Him on the other side of it, he embarrasses rock stars with his events. He embarrasses them because they're so well produced and they're beautiful and they're fun and they're without a doubt social media worthy. I mean, everybody posting pictures. I'm here at this event. It's going great. The distinction is profitability and the trade-off of that thing. And he and I had a very frank discussion about it. I said, I'd rather have more profits and less of that. And he was saying, yeah, but all those photographs on social media, even if for a short term we lose and we don't make any money or we even lose money, in the long run, eventually it just absolutely avalanches and explodes. And I agree with him. But the challenge is being somebody that walks that tightrope right in the middle, that understands, no, we have to have profits today or all the great work we're doing for tomorrow, we may never experience the benefits. And at the same time, we've got to be willing to give more than we're paid for to make sure that our customers keep coming back and saying, we love you. What are your thoughts on that balance between, I'll say it this way, excellence and effectiveness?
Yeah. So in the example you just gave, let's just call it the delta between a medium run production and the high end production is his investment in brand.
Yeah.
So think of them as almost two different budgets, if you will. One is an event budget. The other one is almost a marketing acquisition bucket. But the critical piece that I think you touched on is really this is a financing strategy. It's how much can I spend and how long can I delay my ability to recoup the spend to acquire the customer or make the impact or whatever it might be. And I think with small and medium-sized businesses, what I have focused on is finding methods to shorten or eliminate the float that is needed between the spend and the recouping of that spend. So at gym launch, for example, to use a gym analogy, prior to gym launch, gyms around the country would offer a free trial. And maybe it was even 30 days of free use. And then hopefully somebody buys. Well, the problem with that model was if it cost you $100 to acquire the customer and you're charging, say, $30 a month for your gym membership, and you tack on a month of free trial on the front end, you're waiting 4 months to get your money back. Add zeros, subtract zeros to fit your business.
Your scale.
So what we did is we implemented a high ticket 6-week transformation challenge, which was a $600 front end sale. So we would spend $100 to get somebody in to pay us $600 at sign up. We took all that extra money and funneled it back into acquisition. So I think the difference being it's a capitalization issue, not necessarily a business issue, because you can create products that are specifically designed to help on acquisition, and then you get all the back end profit thereafter. So, I work in service businesses primarily, specifically ones with a membership or subscription related to it. So we're all about how efficiently we can acquire a customer and then how long we can keep them or how many buying decisions we can keep going into the future, which looks like the number of problems that we can solve for them.
What's the number one challenge that people run into that you come in and you look at it and you go, I can't believe they have this challenge. This is such an easy fix and it's instantaneous. What is that? I liked your analogy, by the way, in your example of gym memberships and repositioning that initial investment. Because I've said for a long time, a free customer isn't necessarily a subscriber. And that doesn't mean they will ever be a subscriber. And so businesses often think they're getting ahead and doing well because they've got all these leads coming in, but the leads are worthless and they're never going to be buyers. What do you think is a big, easy fix that anybody with a business doing $500,000 a year right now could implement into their business?
Yeah. The thing I see done wrong most frequently is business owners think about the product or service that they want to offer rather than the problem they're ultimately solving for the customer. So I'll follow on that fitness analogy. Many gyms are effectively an equipment rental business. Pay me $10 a month and you can use the equipment. The problem with that is the issue that you're solving for the customer is they don't need equipment. They need a transformation. So you could ask yourself, well, what else do they need in order to reach their goal, which is a transformation? They might need dietary support. They might need accountability. And they need some movement. So what we did is we looked at the solution as a whole and solved the customer's problem, which was the reason why we were able to charge $600 instead of giving away a free trial. So the tactic I would think about is go to your core avatar, the core customer that you want to acquire, and think of every problem or every component of the problem that you're trying to solve. Mark off the ones that you want to provide and that you can provide within your own business, and then find someone else, a joint venture, a partnership, a referral party, an affiliate, someone else to do everything else. And the critical distinction is you own the relationship. And the reason why that matters is because when they are successful, they're going to come back and say, you know what, Marshall took care of me. I was able to work out with Marshall during the day. And then he sent me to John, who was phenomenal at making sure my diet was right. And then I had Jane, who was checking in with me every morning by text to make sure I had everything I needed. Marshall was the best. You might have only delivered 1/3 of the offering,
Right.
but you were responsible for the win.
Yep.
Which earns the idea of, people do business with folks that know, like, and trust.
Yep. And I think there's a lot to be said for being all things to all people. And I think
Yeah.
so many times it's pounded into business owners' head. You got to find your vertical. You got to find your niche. You got to do this.
Yeah.
And I think that that's all well and good, except, I think about people like Amazon, Jeff Bezos, who starts off selling books and fails miserably by anybody's standards, who then realizes maybe I'm not selling books, maybe I'm selling. Maybe I just need to add other things to the mix so I can appeal to the people that don't read books. When I launched my infomercial many years ago, I had a show. The show's called Passion, Profit, and Power. It was designed to help you reprogram your brain to have better relationships, more money, emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual well being. And I called it Passion, Profit, and Power because the FTC made it very clear they wouldn't let me call it Sex, Money, and Power. So when I went to sell Passion, Profit, and Power, I had all of these distributors tell me nobody's interested in a product that broad. You got to narrow it down, make it about money or make it about relationship or make it about fat loss, but make it about one thing. And I kept saying, no, I want to appeal to everybody. And as they say, the rest is history. I launched the show for $10,000 that in the first year we did $120 million plus in sales. And so that broad spectrum. I have a client of mine, while we're on the topic of Jim, because this is exactly what you were saying, and becoming full service to the customer and saying, how do I further serve my existing customer? Because that's my belief, is that the best thing we can do for our business is better serve our existing customers, find new ways to help them do whatever their outcomes are. And so I had a gym member as a part of our high-end mastermind, which retails for $70,000, and he owned a gym. And during the lockdowns, during the scamdemic, he, as all the gym owners and many of us in related businesses, he suffered and he was going out of business. And there's two things. I said, number one, you've got all these people that are gym members with you, and while they can't work out at your gym, they're still hurting. Their hurt today is different. Their hurt is mental. So while the workout is good and physical, you've got to help serve them mentally. And so I'd suggest that you start doing daily broadcasts, remotely Zooms, do broadcasts daily to help them keep their head on straight, or teach them exercises they can be doing from home, or transfer it at least temporarily, because you don't know how long this is going to last, to the fact that they don't even have to come to your gym for your gym to serve them. And that was the first thing I said is you're right now, you're worried. He was worried about everybody canceling their membership all at once because they couldn't get to the gym, which is a valid concern. And I said, figure out how to serve them during these times. If you need to put their membership on half debit or half cost during this time, do whatever you need to do to show that you're conscious of what they're going through. He exploded. Not only did he not lose what he thought he was going to lose, it grew. People were signing up, their $29 per month membership just to get on the webinars. And so he retained that. And then after everything stopped being locked down, he came back to me and he was so happy. He said, I want to, hire you for some more consultation. What do you recommend? And what I said to him was this, that you have a room, because I happen to go to his gym. I said, every day when I go to work out, there's this room over there that you do your aerobics in. You do your, spin classes or whatever, your yoga classes in. You have that room. But I noticed that room isn't always busy. Sometimes that room is empty. He said, yeah, we can only offer so many yoga or spin or those classes. I said, I would agree with you. And if I'm into yoga, man, I'm here at 9 a.m. every Tuesday and Thursday, because that's when the class is. But I got to tell you, the people that come to the gym, they're people of excellence. They're people of health. And I said, those people also want to learn how to make money. They also want to learn how to have better relationships. Half the reason they're coming here to work out is so they can get laid. I said, you've got to help them make more money. What if you did classes inside of that space that were purely about helping them have better lives, not about a workout? In fact, we bring in chairs, or if they don't want to sit on yoga mats, we give them chairs that they could sit in during these classes. And we launched personal and business development classes at the gym. And once again, now it's just an added value that when somebody signs up for their gym membership, they can get all of that. His initial response was, yeah, but I don't want to pay instructors to do that because, that's not really the business we're in. I said, what if I got you free instructors? Well, what's in it for them? I said, they teach a class to your people and we teach classes outside of here. So your classes now become a preview. But the best part is not only are you adding value to their membership, if we make any sales on the backside, we profit share the revenue with you back. So now you're making more money. In fact, you'll make more money off of that portion of the business than anything else you're doing in your gym. He did. It was massively successful. In fact, to the point where he said, I don't really need you, do I? And I said, as much as I don't want to admit it, no, you don't. I've trained you well enough. You don't need me. In fact, you should want to be doing these events all on your own because that's where your money is. I think, sometimes that's the biggest thing, isn't it? That people got to reinvent themselves. They have to say, my business is serving these customers. What greater degree can I serve these customers that's not even seemingly related to what I do? So I know I was extremely long-winded.
Yeah.
Please
No,
help me.
I think the common thread, though, as you rightly pointed out, is folks are coming to the gym to have a different or brighter future than the past. So the through line is I came here to change my physical health, and then it was I came to improve my mental health, and now maybe it's my financial health, maybe it's my relationship health. They're all packaged in a similar point of view, and we do think about it in like different wallets. So the idea of how many different ways you can engage someone. I had a great a guy who's a big influencer on social media, big on Instagram, called them sockets. The more sockets you can plug in with someone, the more sticky that relationship will be. Because again, they're not quitting the gym. They're leaving this apparatus, this community, this framework where their lives have been improved. And so I might injure my shoulder, but I still want to come in to see the other classes. I still want to work on my mental health. I still want to feel good and all of those types of things. So it gives you greater stickiness and longevity of client.
Well, it's kind of like what a church does, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very much what a church does. My wife belongs to a church right now that doesn't do offerings ever, never. And I've never been to a church like that. And they make it clear we're a church. We need money to operate, but we don't want that to be the reason you come to service. If you come to service, we think you're coming to be filled. And so, we're not going to ever ask you for an offering. And what's boggling to me, they make more money not offering an offer than they would have if they made an offer. And then I've seen the reverse in churches that I've walked away from that just browbeat the crap out of their congregation and made them feel guilty if they weren't given to God. And I'm going, I give to God. Just God doesn't give everything I give to you isn't everything I give to God. So it's that idea though that her church community has an evening for the kids. They've got an afternoon for the married couples. They've got this thing focused on building wealth. They've got this thing over here that's, nutrition and health and everything else. And a lot of people would say, the church doesn't really have a place teaching people about nutrition or exercise. And my response is, of course they do. I mean, that's their job, is to help people have a better life. And if God wants me to have a healthy body, which I'm positive God does, then why wouldn't the church teach me that information? It only makes sense. They think it's the myopic syndrome. It's eliminating that myopathy, that if I just made up a word, that would make people think I'm in the dental business, or I'm in the automotive repair business, or I'm in, I'm a realtor in the house selling business. Well, the realtor needs to say, okay, what does that new homeowner need? They may need new landscapers. They may need new housekeeping in their house, whatever it is. And if my customer is going to buy those things, they might as well buy them through me.
Yep. Spot on. I mean, those are all relationship businesses, right? Take the landscaper. You're not in the grass cutting business. You're in the home beautification business.
Yes.
And we had a dentist is not in the teeth business. They're in the better smile, the confidence business. So what else can I do? And I think that's super important. There's 6 ways that we can actually unlock value. 3 of them are physical and 3 of them are called digital. It's physical products or service, products, services, and access. And so I
And I always say
challenge
that
folks. I have a
people,
framework around this. Yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
I always say that, and I'm glad you brought that up because products and services are easy for people to understand. But most people don't understand that of those three, at least in my opinion, the most valuable is access. That's what our entire
Absolutely.
political system is built on. That's what lobbying is. It's access buying.
Yep.
And
Yep.
even in my events, that is the whole point of an educational business, that people pay more money for better and higher and more frequent access. And I think that that's the one thing that a lot of influencers, people that have billions of views, they don't understand. There are people that just want to touch their flesh. There are people that just want to be near the cloth and be in their presence and break bread. And I think that again, understanding that access piece is major.
Absolutely. I mean,
So
we see this
you said there
everywhere,
were
right?
three,
Yeah.
and then there were three. What are the other three?
Yeah. So it's 3 physical and 3 digital. So you can have physical products, you can have digital products, you can have physical services, digital services, and then physical access might be come to my mastermind,
Yep.
come to my event. The digital access might be I'm going to host 10 people on a small roundtable. Come join us. And the key to the whole thing, which I think is really important here, is especially for people who are in the physical kind of realm, those are and margins are very important. You look at where can I expand my margins, where are my profit centers. Access is effectively 100% margin. And the difference could be, I'm an HVAC, I'm in the HVAC business. I can sell a piece of equipment, which would be a physical product. I can offer some services, so I can come and fix it, but I can also offer my 3-hour guarantee. So for only $9 a month or $19 a month or $50 a month, you can actually be top of list. So which actually happened to us in our family, when it's Thanksgiving and the sink is backed up and you've got people coming over in 3 hours, I guarantee I'll be there in 3 hours or less. Now you have recurring revenue, you have stickiness of a relationship, and maybe you're not even discounting the service call, but now that person's not calling anybody else. And they feel great because they got exactly what they wanted, right? So I think there are some ways that we can start to your point, open up the lens, if you will, about the ways that we can deliver value.
And I like that strategy. The example that you just used is perfect. If I have a service-based business like automotive repair or plumbing or HVAC or any number of those kinds of things, if there's a minimal amount of money that I pay on a monthly basis to make sure that I'm at the Uber Eats. I don't know if you've seen
Yeah.
lately, because I use Uber
Oh,
Eats a lot. And they
yeah.
have this priority delivery option on it now for
Mm-hmm.
$3.99, at least in my neighborhood. For
Yeah.
$3.99, you can be the first people to get delivered to. Well, if you look carefully at it, it's 20 to 25 minutes for regular delivery. It's 15 to 25 minutes for priority delivery. They're not even saying it's going to get there any faster. They're just saying we'll think
Yep.
about you more. And
Yep.
I usually click that $3.99, which is basically giving the money away for the what? For the advantage of maybe getting my food 5 minutes earlier. It's like, what a brilliant thing. When
Yeah.
GoDaddy started doing those point of purchase things and saying,
Mm-hmm.
not only here's your domain, but here's your protection and here's your email service and all these other things. That's what that monthly subscription for the plumber is. It's not that the consumer thinks they're buying greater access, but the plumber is buying a guarantee I'm the one you're going to call. And if what I've
Exactly
got to
right.
give up is a rare Thanksgiving, because it's not going to happen every Thanksgiving. If I've got to be on call during a rare Thanksgiving to come over and make sure your family has a better experience on Thanksgiving, that money's going to come back to me as goodwill and referrals and everything else. And the $99 per, $9.99 a month for that subscription for discount and priority and all the other things I can add into the offer, even that grows to be a bit of an annuity, on a monthly payment. To me, it might not be a lot, might be a couple grand, but it's top of mind. And that top of
Exactly.
mind is certainly more valuable to me than any $10 a month could be.
Yeah. Spot on. Exactly right.
I
Exactly
love it.
right.
That's a brilliant tactic. Tell me more. Give me some more business tactics that I might not think about that you've utilized and leveraged and helped grow some other businesses. By the way, I love having you on, Tim. You're
Yeah.
fascinating and you're brilliant, and this is great stuff.
Well, I appreciate that. And so I think two things struck out when you were speaking before. So one is the law of reciprocity, giving without the expectation, the church analogy. I think for me, what I try to do, and they're related to the next point I'll make, is I try to give people as many ways to participate in my world as I possibly can. And so that takes the form of making lots of offers. Now, when we think about offers, it's give me more money, but it could be an offer to participate. Come join them out. You're not part of our inner circle, but come join a call. And if you like this, you're gonna love. If you liked what you had today, you're gonna love this as a separate offer, as an example. So giving without the idea of the idea of reciprocity is a big one. The second, which I do a lot around, is the idea of pricing, because as you made the point before, you identify as the person who values speed and priority, and Uber Eats knows that to the tune of $3.99 an order, right? There
Which is
are by
pure profit,
the
by the
math,
way. 100% pure
100%.
profit to them. Their service
But
fee is
but
only $4.
right. So let's use the same principles in our business. Where are those 5, 10, 15% of people that are ready, willing, able, and desiring to give us more money? What needs to be true for those people to unlock those potential revenue streams and value creation for them? And not all buyers are the same. So at a very basic level, what you could do is to just do the 3-tier pricing strategy. What's the low, the medium, and the high version? And it's funny, I was talking to somebody a couple of weeks ago, and she was going to a conference. I think the main ticket was like $297 or something. And she said, "Oh yeah, I bought the $15,000 VIP pack." I said, "Oh, I'm fascinated. What's in it?" She goes, "I have no idea. I'm just the person that buys the VIP." So think about that for a second. I could try to sell 15 times more tickets at $300, or I can just find those people who are not going to ask the questions, are going to be highly engaged, and likely be the person that will ultimately spend more money with me. So if you aren't thinking in terms of those kind of tiers, I would encourage you to think about. I have a 10-year-old son. He loves to play with Legos. Imagine your business as a series of Legos. Which bricks do you pull off the pile, and how do you put them together for each of those tiers? Because it will look different. But you will ultimately have a better fit with each of those avatars, which means they will likely, you'll convert more people on the front end, and you'll ultimately keep more people on the back end.
Yeah, it was Donald Trump who said, there is always a market for the best of things. There is always a
Absolutely.
portion of people that want to be level 10, that want to be the best of the best of the best. I'm one of those people too. That we won't
Yeah,
go. Speaking of the Lego example, we won't go to a theme park that doesn't have a VIP tour, because, in my
yeah,
opinion, there's no point. You're going to go to Disneyland, be
exactly.
there for 11 hours, and get
Yeah,
on two, maybe three
right.
rides.
Yep,
You're going to spend six
exactly.
hours standing in a line, and even if you have a speed pass, maybe you'll get on one or two more rides. It's horrid. If you've got a
Yeah,
VIP experience ushered to the front of the line, you avoid the crowds, go through back entries, and everything is better. Is it expensive? It is. But like you said, 15,000 here, $300 here. I got to sell 50 $300 tickets to be one of these. And there's always someone who wants to buy the best of the best of the best. And the best is always access. Reminds me of a story years ago. I wanted to meet Sir Richard Branson. And I put
mm,
it into the universe. I want to meet Branson. Buddy calls me up. He says, "Hey, Branson's doing a charity dinner up in San Francisco. $5,000 a pop, 10 people total. Want to come join me?" And he said, "All the money's going to charity." And I said, "Yeah, I got a better idea. How about you pay 25,000, I pay 25,000. We have a private dinner with Sir Richard Branson." He said, "I'll get back to you in a week." He gets back to me a week later. He says, "I've got bad news and good news." I said, "What's the bad news?" He says, "The bad news is it's not 10 people anymore. It's 25 people." I said, "Okay, what's the good news?" He said, "The good news is you can still pay $25,000. And I said, "How much is everybody else paying?" He said, $5,000 a piece. I said, "Okay, I'll pay 25 with the caveat, I want the seat right beside him." And, for me, I don't know about anybody else that's dined at a large table. If you're sitting with a lot of people, the only person you talk to is the person beside you or either side of you. And I felt bad for everybody else that paid $5,000 because they didn't really get any attention. I got everything. Not to mention that I hypnotized Branson while he was at dinner without him knowing it to invite me to his private island. So I got a very big positive return on investment. But the point in it is that, yeah, I gladly paid 5 times what everybody else paid because I wanted 100 times the experience. And I again get back to that. People will pay for a better experience too. And anything you can do VIP wise to make it be a better experience, then that's going to be, there's an audience guaranteed will pay for that.
Absolutely. And I'm going to address the one thing that's in everybody's heads that's listening to this who says, I can't do it. Here's what I want you to do. Take your main price and multiply it by at least 10, preferably 100. And ask yourself the question, what needs to be true for me to say this number with confidence? That's all I need you to. I don't need you to build it. I don't want you to go out and do anything. I just want you to know in your own head what needs to be true for this to be the best value I offer. And once you can do that, then you will go out and find ways to substantiate it and to build it on the back end. But you have to think about, you have to put that out in the universe. You have to be actively thinking, how can I deliver that type of value? Because even if you don't price it at 100x, you'll still price it at 10x and you'll deliver tremendous value. And everyone will actually thank you for taking more money from them.
I have an exact example of that. Years ago, I was a magician and I was looking to reinvent myself and I wanted to stop doing magic. And I, one of the things that I would do is come to your party and do close-up magic for $150 an hour. Just roam around, card tricks, coin tricks for all your guests. Somebody called me up when I was in this transitional phase and I just didn't want to do the gig. And I said, okay, what if I charge 10 times as much? They're asking me for the booking. I don't want the booking. I said, it's going to be $1,500 per hour. They gulped. And they said, okay, well, that's more than we heard you charge, but you come very highly recommended. We'll take it. And I just went, okay, well, now I want to do it. And nothing changed. But here was the other thing that happened. Not only did I get that booking, from that point forward, every referral from that booking booked me at that rate. There was never a question, oh, he's $1,500 an hour. That's what it is. And so I instantly multiplied my income 10 times over, which kept me doing magic a little bit longer. But there was one more thing. I came to realize there were people that when I told them it was $150 an hour, didn't book me because it was too cheap. Because they said, how good could it be? I mean, if he's only $150 an hour, no, this party's important to us. We want everybody to have a really good experience. We just want the best. And I tell my clients all the time, there are customers that aren't buying from you because you are too cheap. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think we live in a world where pricing in particular, most of the discussion is around physical products. A TV, for example, that's the example most folks would use. If I'm buying a TV, I can price compare TVs. The reality is in services, your price denotes value. So if you were to have an operation and the surgeon said you have two options, surgeon A is $100 an hour and surgeon B is $100,000 an hour, which one do you think is the better surgeon?
Right off the bat, you said it's got to be the 100,000.
So where you position yourself in the marketplace, and by and large, we chronically underprice. And the reason for it is because we don't want to turn anyone away. But here's the thing, as you just spoke to, Marshall, is exactly the point. You actually want to turn away the folks who who are not aligned with your values. And we already know that our time is one of the most valuable things, if not the most valuable thing that we have. If you're going to spend time with that client, you need to maximize your time, not just sell more volume, right? So there are ways to do it in one-to-many, but primarily I 100% agree with you. Most of us should probably just double our rates and change absolutely nothing, and the world around you will start to shift.
Yeah, it was pretty remarkable to me. And, even these days, I'm going to take a picture of the screen. I just want to, from my mementos. It was amazing to me when I began to realize how much I do the same thing, that often I'll look for a service, I'll look for a product. Somebody will give me a ridiculous offer, and I'll look at it and I'll say something's got to be wrong with that. They've got to be bad. They've got to, not they're not going to deliver. They're going to rip me off, whatever it is, and I'll go another direction. And if I really knew the truth about it, the only difference, in fact, the cheaper one might have even been better because they're working more and they're more refined. It wasn't what went into my decision-making process. And so besides like a price increase, what is an instantaneous thing a business that's doing okay could do to boost their revenues?
Yeah. So if you have an existing business, what I would encourage you to do is to create a special offer, a special product, one that you don't normally offer to anyone else. And the way I want you to think about it is, what is the smallest but most impactful problem that you can solve for your general business audience? And don't make it the full solution, make it one step of a multi-step process. And I want you to take that one product that you don't normally offer out and go to every other past client that you've ever had and say, Marshall, I am rolling out something that I want to give my former clients the first the first chance to get in on. We're going to solve this problem. It's at this price point. I only have about 50 of them to sell. I only have X spots left, but I thought of you. Just let me know if you're in or not. So it's both a reactivation campaign as well as a way for people to come back into your world. And when you solve the first step and you do it well, then you've earned the right to continue to re-engage them on future steps. So I think I'm not a marketer by trade. I just think there's so much value inside of our own ecosystems right now that is ripe to be unlocked. You just have to do it in a way that is strategic, doesn't kind of anger or disrupt your existing customer base, but gives people a reason to re-engage with you instead of just, hey, it's been a while, are you still interested? Is not as exciting as, I've got something special and I thought of you.
I agree. And, that's what this broadcast is. As I've come out of semi-retirement, one of the things that I wanted to do was give people better access to me. And this, again, is a part of the conversations we've been having internally lately, is I'm not so vain that I think I'm as relevant as I used to be. I went into semi-retirement. I dropped below public view. So I'm not as relevant. And only vanity and ego would make me think I was. But so for me, there's people that don't know who I am, never heard my name, never seen my face, never heard my voice, that need to know this is who this guy is. This is what he stands for. I'm watching a lot, and I mentioned this during my monologue. I see a lot of influencers who have tremendous audiences, but they just don't know what they sell. They know what their brand is. They know that they've got 10 million followers on Instagram. In due respect, that's all well and good, but other than the ad revenue, what do you sell? Because if you don't sell anything, that's just foolish. Or worse, on the other side of the coin, there's influencers with huge audiences that sell what I call, they're scams. They're just scams based upon, hey, I'll put you on my podcast, or I'll mention you in my channels, when most of their subscribers or followers aren't legit. They're not real, and they're charging people based on those numbers. If you want to have 1 billion followers and they're not real, I could care less, until you base anything on that 1 billion followers when you're selling something. That's where I have a challenge with it, and where I would never step over that boundary. But the question I have for you, though, is how much goes into perception versus reality in the consumer's mind? Or is there any difference? Does it come back to what I was talking about, choose reality?
Yeah. So we live in the attention economy today, which is why this kind of trend has picked up. And if you actually unpack it, there's two pieces to kind of success, in my opinion, in this marketplace. There's the ability to have influence and attraction, and then there's the product to sell. I'll use Alex, my former partner, as a great example. He has both the attraction mechanism and he has a product to sell. Then you take someone like a true influencer who just has attention and influence, but has no product. So what do? They do joint ventures, or they rep a product or something like that, right? They have to so they've got the eyeballs, but they need something to sell. I think most of us actually have something to sell, but don't have the eyeballs. So I think you have to understand where you are in those two, kind of score yourself on both sides of those, and either make a conscious choice to buy more eyeballs or get more attention and continue to build a product, or find other people's audiences or things like that to leverage to get more to get audience. That's kind of the general macro view, in my opinion. The difference being, and it's like the old adage, as the tide goes out, you find out who's wearing a bathing suit. In my opinion, over the next couple of years, the pendulum is going to swing back from just purely buying attention to who actually has the goods. And so what I'm doing personally, and Marshall, you're doing it even in this form, is I'm doing much more of documentation and demonstration of what I do. So instead of me telling you what I can do, I'm going to invite you in. We're going to do a business breakdown. In 15 minutes, I'll break your business down. We'll talk about where the opportunities are. I'll give you a couple of ideas. Just that's how I'll earn my ability to create an audience. And if you want some help implementing that, because I know that can be a challenge sometimes, well, then let's have a conversation about how we can go deeper. Talk about access and service and product like we were talking about before. I believe that that's where this world is going to go. Those that actually have the goods will continue to document and demonstrate. Those that don't will continue to talk about what is possible and what they can do. The litmus test for me is, if you believe that you are authentic, put your best stuff in front of the paywall, not behind it. And if you actually look at all those quote unquote fake gurus, it's the picture with the Lamborghini, the shortcut to the house, the mansion in the background, to getting on a private jet, to if you want some of this, pay me some money. I personally wouldn't trust anybody who approaches the world like that. And I think the best of the best are already putting out their best stuff. So just look for those telltale signs, and you will be in good shape.
Well, I'm the guy that's both. I'm the guy that says, look at my palace in Vegas, look at my beach house, look at my private jet. And by the way, I've been doing this for 40 years. Look at my students' success. Look at what they've achieved.
Exactly.
Look at what they've done. So I understood what you meant. The thing that I also think is that people don't realize that they're getting back what they're sending out. They don't realize if you're constantly looking for the flaw or the chink in the armor, you can find it. As much success as Alex has had, he's got his detractors like we all do. And they're going to attack all day long, no matter how great he is. Political figures, we experience this all the time, that we have political figures that do really good work, and then we have ones that don't. But because of the frame or the presentation, someone might be more popular than somebody else. And it all comes back down, as far as I'm concerned, to results. I share the stage with a lot of big speakers that don't sell anything, and they've got a lot of visibility. They've got millions of followers, and they get paid strong six-figure speaking fees to come speak on a platform. I don't charge a speaking fee. I don't get paid a speaking fee. But when one of these guys, who's one of the best, paid people in the business, that is, making $250,000 as his speaking fee, gets on stage, he gets paid that. I get paid nothing, but I pull 1.2 to 1.5 million out of that exact same event, that exact same audience, because I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is, which I think is exactly what you were saying, and I think a great policy. Hey, Tim, before we wrap up, number one, thank you. I've been I got like 2 pages of notes here from our conversation, and I've really appreciated spending some time with you. Is there a place where people that are listening, before we wrap the show up, is there a place that people are listening can go to get more information or connect with you or opt into, any more data from you?
Absolutely. So if you liked what we talked about today, you'll love the pieces that we have inside of our community. So you can go to timcalise.com, as well. Go to Instagram or Facebook, even LinkedIn. I'm on all of those channels. I monitor all my own DMs. And if something resonated with you, if there's one thing that you said, oh, I'd love to take that and implement it in my business, please DM me the word Marshall, and I will set you up with one of our frameworks to make sure that we can help you get that taken care of for you. So go to any of the social channels, DM me the word Marshall. I'll know you listened to the show today, and someone might on my team or myself will make sure that we get you exactly what you need.
Tim Calise, thank you so much. You're awesome. I'm very grateful for you. You have an awesome day. What a great show. We're having fun. Yeah, we're changing formats. I got a couple of you asking, hey, you haven't been taking questions this week. I have not. We are changing some formats. We're working on a huge software platform. We're working on a huge facility for studio money. So lots of things going on. So I have my reasons. Yes, we will return to taking your calls, putting up the cash prize for the secret word of the day, the silver giveaways, everything this show's known for. We will return to that soon. In the meantime, what I'm seeking to do is work out some bugs, work out some strategies, work out some of the things that we're working on. And again, everything evolves. Everything begins. Everything evolves. I'm Marshall Silver. You are totally loved. Thanks for being on the show with me today. We got a great show for you tomorrow. I'll see you then. Hey there, moguls. It's me, Marshall Silver, your personal millionaire maker. Getting very excited about my brand new show coming up 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. I'm going to broadcast live to you. I'm going to give you content, information, emotional, mental, physical, and even spiritual power. I'll also invite some of my cool multi-millionaire and billionaire friends onto the show to give you more direction, more advice for having it all. All the knowledge to get everything you want and so much more. All you got to do is log in to the show to get information coming to you live from the bunker right here at Studio Money. So stay tuned.